Hey, I'm Allison from Learning at the Primary Pond. I'm a literacy specialist, and in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 resources that will help you follow the science of reading if you're teaching kindergarten, 1st grade, or 2nd grade. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do that now, and then also hit the little bell so that you don't miss any of the videos I post about teaching literacy in K2. Okay, so science of reading, you've probably heard the term. If you haven't, it just means like the things that we know based on research, based on literal like brain imaging about what happens when people read or children learn to read, all that information that we know about how the reading process unfolds. And often when people are talking about the science of reading, many times they're actually referring to systematic explicit phonics instruction, but there's actually so much more to the science of reading than just phonics instruction. And it's also, even though it's getting a lot of buzz right now at the time that I'm recording this video, it's not really new because we've known for a long time that we need to teach phonological awareness, phonics, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension. These are the things that get kids reading effectively. So anyway, phonics is what people tend to focus on, and there is a good reason for that. You know, we don't want to ignore anything else, but phonics and, repeated practice of reading words, learning high frequency words, all of that builds for students to read fluently, and from fluency, we get comprehension, usually, as long as there are no other language issues. So phonics is kind of the foundation of a lot of that, and so that's why when you're hearing things about science of reading, you may hear a lot about phonics instruction, because it is not the only thing, but it absolutely is important. So I'm curious, before we dive into these resources, is your school talking a lot about the science of reading? Just let me know yes or no in the comments. I feel like some schools are diving all the way in and some schools aren't quite there yet. So let me know in the comments where your school is at. And let's go ahead and look at these resources. So resource number 1 is decodable text. And I have an example here that's a book format, and I actually have the same exact example, but it's a passage format. A decodable text is intentionally written to include only high frequency words and then words that have been covered up to a certain point in a phonics scope and sequence. So like this particular passage is working on the R-controlled ER, but like kids would already have learned short vowels. So there are short vowel words included here along with many ER words. Clerk with a perch. Even the title gives you a clue, right? Lots of ER words. And then, of course, there's high frequency words as well. So I'll include a link to my decodable text along with this video, but these are valuable because they get kids actually applying the phonics patterns that they're learning. And because it's intentionally limited, kids aren't having to, for example, try to figure out how to read a word with a diphthong when they haven't been taught it yet. So it's like kids are learning these skills and then they're practicing them. And that's what we want, right? When we're teaching phonics, it's for the purpose of them to be able to decode text. We can't just have them only read words, right? They got to be actually using it to read text. So decodable text, resource number 1. Resource number 2 are these no prep phonics games. So I use these all the time with my reading intervention students, but also they're really designed just for the general education classroom as well. And the beautiful thing is you just print them and use them, and they are designed to focus on very specific phonics patterns. So again, you're teaching a phonics pattern, kids are applying it, and like with this dinosaur stomp example game, and there's so many more games in the bundles, but this one focuses on ending S blend. So mask, last, rest, words like that. So again, you teach the skill and then kids have an opportunity to practice and apply it, which is so important. All right. Next resource, number 3, is blending lines. So the purpose of a blending line is, or like a blending line sheet as I have it set up, and there's different ways to set them up, but the words are very intentionally chosen to build from what students know and then gradually get more challenging, and then there's sentences at the end. So like this is a long A with silent E sheet that I'm going to be using later today with a student, and so like she already learned short A words, right? As many kids would before they learn silent E words. So she is practicing reading pal before she reads pale, right? She's reinforcing the fact that like, oh yeah, this is the short A word. And then we're building from what we've been practicing previously to work on a newer skill, not brand new because I already have taught her long A spelled with silent E, but focusing on the newer skill of, you know, the long vowel. So we're comparing that. And then, you know, the way they're set up varies slightly depending on the skill, but sometimes like one letter is changing or like the end of the word is changing, and then we add some inflectional endings and the sentences at the end. But the purpose of this is to help build fluency. So if you see these stars right here, every time she reads the whole page, she gets to color in a star. The more kids are mapping words in their mind, the easier and quicker it is for them to decode them. And the blending lines are really helpful in, again, getting them to apply the phonics skills they're learning and also to build that fluency. So number 3, blending lines. All right, resource number 4 is my free phonics diagnostic assessment. Again, I'll include a link for all of this stuff along with this video. This is a totally free resource that will tell you exactly what phonics patterns your students can read in words and also what phonics patterns they can spell when they're spelling words. So it's really easy, and it also gives you just like such a detailed rundown of like, okay, like if they misspelled this word, then that means they need to work on XYZ. I know it's probably too small for you to read, but this is the very detailed individual student sheet, and I have class sheets for you as well. Great for making groups. And then when we're talking about like the games and the decodable text and the blending lines, it'll tell you what blending lines and what games and what decodable text those students are ready for. So this is, I probably should have included this first, but this is kind of like the foundation that tells you which ones of the different activities or which skills within the different activities will be helpful for your students. So that is number 4. Resource number 5 is a heavy hitter. Literally, this is heavy. So this is from Sounds to Spelling, the Learning at the Primary Pond Phonics program. All of these individual resources that I've shown you are very helpful. I use them all the time with my students, but you also really need like a comprehensive phonics and phonological awareness program. So kids learn to decode, they learn to spell, they learn to read text. This is absolutely based on the research and the concepts underlying the science of reading. You really get everything you need. And this binder I said is heavy, but it's only the tip of the iceberg. I've only got the lesson plans for 1st grade in here. I've got it for kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade. All the printable materials, there's professional development videos, and through this, kids are also building fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. So it really addresses all aspects of the science of reading, all in one easy to use program. Okay, so that was a lot of resources. I will include links along with this video. I also do, if you want to dive further into phonics instruction, have like a full-length training that might be helpful to you, so I will link to that as well. Thanks so much for watching. Hope this was helpful. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.